think it's quite hard, isn't it, to come into a board cold if you haven't had experience before, and you're not sure how you should respond to things, what input you're expected to give, etc. So if you start as a trainee, you can start to feel your way, start to get used to how boards operate, and perhaps in a slightly safer environment than you would starting as a full board member straight away.
You get opportunities to learn the organisation and also to bring in what your transferable skills might be. So for instance, I've got a housing background in the slightest, but I've got an NHS background, a local authority background, and being able to understand how you can transfer that knowledge and skills to a different sector. And actually there is some similar things, and we hope that that opportunity, like Carol said, in a safer space, gives you time to explore what your unique selling points are as an individual, and what you can bring from your expertise elsewhere as well.
It's a great opportunity for one, for an individual to come and see how a company is run, and to get an idea about what it's like to be a board member, and to see about what the contribution of the board is to an organisation. So it's really good opportunity.
I think trainee board members really important for two reasons. Firstly, for the organisation, because it gives us the ability to almost grow your own, to bring somebody in to the organisation. They've got a couple of years to completely absorb everything about the organisation, what it does, and learn before they're actually then having to sit on the board and make those strategic decisions. But also for the individual, so that if they're not quite sure if being a board member's for them, or they think, I believe I've got skills but I'm not really sure I've got what it takes to be a board member, it's that opportunity to come, to almost try before you buy, if you like, but to get that support, that training, that mentoring, to give you that confidence that actually you can make that difference. The board, I like to use the analogy of a ship. So the board is the captain of the ship. They make the strategic decision on what direction the ship is going to head in, and then the executive team and the employees of the organisation are the crew that will then steer that ship into the direction that the captains have decided.
Well, my background is audit and risk, and I know that might be dull to a lot of people, but it's not to me. I really enjoy that part of the role, and I really enjoy and find interest in the compliance aspect of running something like a registered provider where you've got people's homes in your portfolio, and that is a really important thing. And so I'm really interested in how we can ensure that people's homes are fit for purpose, are quality, meet decent home standards, what it's like living in one of Acis's homes, and the compliance aspect of that, how we make sure homes are safe for individuals and their families to live in. And we do that, via board meetings and via the papers that we get, and I find that a really interesting aspect of the work.
This was my first board member appointment, so I was working in the sector anyway, used to working on boards and sitting the other side of the desk effectively. But it's taught me a lot about being a board member and what it is to be a board member, and what it is for a board to work well as a group and work well with an executive, and ultimately help the organisation to achieve its outcomes over time. So it was a real insight into that different relationship, if you like, from the day-to-day running of the business to the oversight and the assurance part that a board is obviously responsible for.
For us as board members, we're not here generally all day at work. It's not like most people would describe as a normal working day. We're here for meetings, and what works really well is when we have a problem at a meeting, and we all come together and we think, I'm not sure what approach we should take on this, and we might all have slightly different views. We have a really good in-depth debate and come up with a solution, or come up with some recommendations, And when that happens and it all gels together, that's brilliant. And it makes us feel, I think, really worthwhile members of Acis and worthwhile board members.
Yeah, I like that word, worthwhile, because I think when you have made a suggestion, or you've been heard, or you're probing something from a quality, a safety, a tenant or a member staff point of view, and getting that information or seeking that assurance that we're doing the right things for the right people at the right time, that comes away with a good feeling that we're on the right track. And I think, as Carol says, especially when you have a very facilitative chair who will listen to open discussion and open debate, nothing's necessarily set in stone. Some things are complete surprises, but you know, we want to make things better for our tenants and our communities, and I think when you walk away out of a meeting room having felt that gives you a good day.
We're not here as board members to tell Acis how to do things. We're here to provide strategic advice and guidance and look at the direction of travel and how we're progressing and that sort of thing, rather than the detail of the day-to-day workings.
It's a difficult role, because you're there, we're being seen as the leaders of the organisation, but also we're there to serve the organisation to the best of our ability. So you've got that twofold role. You're seeking assurance from the executive and from senior management that things are happening as we would all want them to be, but at the same time we're trying to serve our communities, because as being a board member, it's not you don't do it for the money, I don't think. You do it because you're trying to put something back into the community and share your knowledge and skills and perspective.
I think one of the hardest things is to get that difference between what it means to be in a senior management role in an organisation and a board member. So many people who come to it maybe used to or may think about the role as being, this is running the business, but there's a very big difference between the day-to-day running of the business and what the role of the board is. And I do think that many board members have certainly potentially sort of step onto the feet of the executive if they're not careful. So there's a different way of thinking. It is more of an oversight function and gaining assurance on how the business is performing, and staying at that level to guide the longer term strategy of the business as opposed to the day-to-day operational aspects of the business. You need to know some of that and work and understand some of that operational aspects of the business, but you're not running the business on a day-to-day basis that the executive team are.
I would say don't worry that you don't know everything, because you can't. First of all, you can't possibly know everything. Even if you've been on the board for years, there's still lots of new things that you'll come across that you might not have seen before. But the most important thing is to bring enthusiasm. And if you don't know things, what I've found is that people are really willing to help out and give you information. To help you get involved in the debate and the decision making. So my advice would be, don't worry if you don't understand anything or you're not sure, because people are here to help you, and they really do support you as board members.
Yeah, I think to add to that, it's really interesting, it's an exciting role, you're close to the things that are happening and the developments that are taking the organisation forward, and that's a really privileged place to be, really, because we get to hear things firsthand. And I think, like Carol says, you shouldn't never think you know everybody, because nobody knows everything, but it can't, it puts a big smile on your face to know when things are going right. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the time I've spent here at Acis, and hope to continue to be able to contribute the parts I can contribute to. And I know other board members, they're very supportive, they're very welcoming of ideas, the exec respond very well to ideas, but I think then we've got an open and healthy relationship for a bit of challenge, a bit of debate and a bit of tossing the ideas round, and that does make for good outcomes for all, I think.
One piece of advice, I think, just bring enthusiasm. There's much you can learn and observe and pick up as you go along. There's no expectation that you know absolutely everything. Every single board member around the table brings something different, diversity of thought, and therefore you bring what you have to bring, and listen to others and take in what others you know, are able to support and help you with, but be enthusiastic and I said it at the start, think about the outcomes, you know, what is it this business is trying to do, and they are inspirational.
We're an inclusive organisation and we welcome applicants from all walks of life. All we ask is that you bring your lived experiences, your enthusiasm and an open mind to learn. Come and join Acis Group.